Morning, everybody. Trisha with Homesteading from Scratch. Today, as I'm drinking my second cup, I was inspired. I am going to create a series that I will post periodically, and I'm going to call it Second Cup Side Quests because, as you will soon learn, my ADHD brain kickstarts at that second cup. So as soon as I start drinking my second cup of coffee, whatever I had planned for the day, I usually start a project that feels like it's going to be small. Sometimes it is, but also sometimes it takes the whole of my day, which is where homesteading comes into play. Most of the projects that I do homesteading related start with my second cup. So I give you second cup side quests. This morning, for my second cup of coffee project that I have planned, I am going to freeze dry our overproduction of eggs. So it is currently June. It's the middle of June, which is nearing the end of peak laying season for chickens in Southwest Louisiana. It's about to get real hot. And so egg laying will slow down. And any of you that have been watching any of the previous videos, you're going to see that I've also been dealing with egg eaters. So my production has been pretty low compared to what it normally is at this time of year. I'll link the video to that in here in case you're interested in the methods that I'm going through to try to save my eggs from my chickens. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to use my freeze dryer, and I'm going to be preserving. I don't know if I'll be able to do all of them, but I have a lot of them. So I'm going to be using my freeze dryer to make egg powder with these eggs. And my goal is to create as little waste as possible. So I'm going to bring you guys along for the journey. Okay, so last summer, John got me a Harvest Right freeze dryer, a medium size, which has been perfect for our family. By the way, there's no sponsoring or affiliation with Harvest Right. It's just the one that I have in our research found to be the most reputable. And it's been really great so far. We've done a lot of fun things with it. So one of my favorite things that I did, though, was create an egg powder. So a lot of people have some questions about what that might taste like or look like, and I'm going to address that towards the end of the video. It's been something that I've really enjoyed making. So what my goal is today is I'm going to put as many eggs as I can into our blender. I'm going to blend them up, and then I'm going to put them in the medium-sized Harvest trays. There are 4 that will fit in my freeze dryer. And then I'm going to stick them in the freezer because, based off of my research, eggs process better if you pre-freeze them. So that's my goal. And like I said earlier, my goal is to have as little waste as possible. So one of the things that I will be doing is I'm going to be preserving the egg shells. There's multiple different things you can do with your egg shells. So I prefer to bake them, and just for a few minutes until they get brittle, because that preserves them for longer. So one of the things I'm going to do today, just to be safe, is as I'm cracking my eggs, for about every dozen eggs, I'm going to crack them into a bowl and then put them into the blender. Because what I don't want to happen is every now and then there will be an egg that has a hairline crack that you just didn't see. And then they can be rotten. And I have made the mistake of just putting that straight into a frying pan without cracking that egg into a bowl first. And that was one of the worst mistakes I've ever made. I've never smelled anything so rancid. And then since it was straight into the frying pan, the whole house smelled like it for a while. So I've learned my mistake after making that mistake a couple of times. And one thing I don't want to do is to crack the wrong egg into the blender and waste an entire blender full of eggs. So about every dozen eggs, I'm going to dump them. So that way, maximum I would be wasting would be 12 eggs, which would break my heart, but it's not nearly as bad as, 2 liters of eggs. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, well, I didn't count. I have no idea, but the equivalent of 8 cups of eggs cracked into this blender. Actually, a little bit more. I probably went overboard. Hopefully hopefully it doesn't overflow. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on the blender. I'm going to mix them up, and then I'm going to fill my freezer, my Harvest Right trays. She's done. It's that simple. So now I'm going to fill these trays, and I'm not going to fill them totally full. The last time I did this, after I did the freezing process, I realized I could fit a few more or a little bit more per tray. So I'm probably going to shoot to have them about half full, just because I don't want to go any further than that. I don't want to struggle to transport them from the counter to the freezer. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, all 4 trays are filled, and it looks like 8 cups adequately filled all 4 trays. I just realized as I am transporting my third out of 4 trays to the freezer that I forgot a crucial step. In my research, one of the things that it said that was essential for making or breaking the freeze drying of eggs is the addition of some salt. So I'm going to be sprinkling a little bit of sea salt into each tray and giving it a very gentle stir for a minute and hoping that I didn't totally ruin it. So here's hoping. So this is not the best way to stack them. Harvest Right makes some little rubber things that you can put on the corners that make them to where you can stack them vertically. I don't have any of those. It's on my wish list, but this is what I'm doing. Okay, it's 8 hours later, and to be totally honest, I probably could have done this a little bit sooner, but I got distracted. So they're ready to go in the freeze dryer. All right, they're all loaded up. I'm gonna turn her on, and this will probably take somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 hours, 18 to 24 hours, and then we will put it in the blender or the food processor to make it a powder. And the power went out, but at least it was right there at the end. A freeze dryer actually removes the moisture from the food. So as soon as your process is done, you have to do something with it immediately because the moisture will set back in. I just used a spatula and scraped it into the food processor. It turns into this really weird, flaky texture. So then I just ground it all up in the food processor until it looked like a powder. All that's left after that is to put it in a jar or a Mylar bag and store it. I use a moisture absorber and I vacuum seal the jars. There's lots of ways to use the powder. I have made it into scrambled eggs, which has the texture of a hotel egg, really. You could also use it for baking. I'm actually putting these away and saving them for my annual family Christmas cookie weekend. Let me know in the comments if there's any other freeze drying videos you want to see me do. Thanks for watching.